Smurf here, and today we're down for another episode of Trustless Degens. So the new podcast series that we're doing, I guess you can call it a podcast. Like we're live, but it's technically. I feel like it can technically go into that range. But we're talking about all things Web3, crypto, blockchain, NFTs, a gaggle of words, buzzwords, if you will. But that's our goal. Our goal is to get together each Wednesday and to talk about all these different headline topics and innovations that are happening in the general cryptocurrency space. So we have a plethora, I would say, of hot topics to jump through today. I'm joined by Rex Satoshi, Eric Wilson, and Bitfiend, members of the crypto Twitter and general crypto, I feel like, family, ecosystem, community, GM friends.
All of the above.
Yeah. Well, I think that serves for an intro. I want to jump right into some of these topics today. And this first, I'm going to hit a little softball first, coming in and talking to the gentleman. And let's just to start and say, has anybody seen the price of Bitcoin lately and just the general market as far as fiat currencies? I feel like it's been that meltdown week, not just for Bitcoin but for the markets. I feel like so.
The only thing I have to say about it is just as far as what is it with Bitcoin in 20,000? You know what I mean? Isn't that when one of the first big jumps was 20,000? Oh my God, I can't believe it's 20,000. Now it's like boring at 20,000.
I'm still excited at 20,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? It's at 20,000.
Yeah.
People will tell me that it's like, oh, it's a scam or whatever. It's gonna crash, and I'm like, were you around in 2018? It's still like, talk to me when it's at $100. It's not gonna hit $100. I said a long time ago. I remember telling you, Eric. I remember clearly. We were chatting on D Live, and you asked me what I thought the floor was gonna be, and I said the $1,000 Bitcoin is gone forever. And you asked me what's the best price to buy, and I said anything under 10 grand. And I suspected between 3,800 and 5 grand or something like that. That was going to be the floor, 3 grand, something like that. And I mean, we definitely hit 3,800. So, but anything under 10 grand was a steal because you're going to double your money guaranteed when it hits 20 grand again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same. I feel like anything under 20 is ridiculous. The happening will come. yeah, exactly. The happening will come, and I feel the same way with a lot of stocks that are out there on the market, where it's a good opportunity, and of course with a bear market, nobody wants to buy too early. You don't want to buy and as they say, catch a knife. Continues to go down in price. But at the same time, if you're doing proper strategies for an asset that you're actually interested in, and by proper strategy, I just mean dollar cost averaging into something that you actually want to acquire more of, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think this is the perfect time to be doing that.
I just thought of this. A lot of people that have been involved in Bitcoin would have figured that Bitcoin, the price of it would be higher than it is currently. But I was just thinking of all the money that's been funneled in through things that we didn't even see coming. If it was only even just Bitcoin and Ethereum, those prices would be everything that we thought they would be by now. But I don't think anybody, we all knew that the alternative cryptos were always going to be part of the ecosystem. But the amount at which they're part of the ecosystem, and realistically, it is sucking money out of the Bitcoin and Ethereum. But I think it's a good thing because the money's going to flow where the attention is, where the value is, and where the technology is.
Yeah, feel that. All right, to the second part of this thing, which was that more so the world currency aspect of the recent market action. Have you guys kept up with? Has anybody kept up with that in particular? What's happening?
Man, I definitely feel like it feels like a March 20 or March 2019 moment, kind of. But I definitely feel like there still could be some knives to catch. As far as like global fiat, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So
man, it's like it's absolutely nuts what's going on right now with global fiat, because like all the global currencies are getting wrecked and the dollar is fucking flying. And at first you might think, yeah, that's awesome that the dollar is flying, but for the world, like, that sucks for them because they have to buy the dollar to get their shit. So
Can anybody speak to why the US dollar is going up in relation to everything else?
Oof, yes.
Because
I
we're
honestly
raising
don't know.
interest rates, and because we're raising interest rates, and we're posturing that we're quantitative tightening, which means that instead of us giving money to the market, the U.S. government is selling bonds and selling stocks, and they're supposedly printing less money and not keeping afloat the market, basically.
Okay.
So since the interest rates are going up, so the banks and governments are getting more money back for the loans that they're loaning, and that's happening globally. So people are these countries are still buying stuff from the United States, so they have to buy the dollar. So that means they have to sell their currency for the dollars. So
Okay.
it's causing the dollar to go up and their currencies to go down. And what's going on in London right now is wild to me. Like, the Queen died and everything went to shit. Like, so the Prime Minister decided to do a tax cut. Like, they got a new Prime Minister over there, and they're going to do a tax cut. The UK government today put out that they're going to be buying bonds, and that's just like they're injecting liquidity into the market, buying bonds, because people are selling bonds because the pound is going to shit. And dude, like, I could keep going forever. It's ridiculous what's going on in London right now.
Yeah, but it's it's not just London that's having the problems. It's the entire world.
No,
I
not
had it
at
up
all.
on screen for just a moment when I flicked through.
Japan,
Yeah, like all these different
fucking
currencies, and
China.
everybody's is down and to the right.
everybody.
And like, yeah, people try to like say that about Bitcoin and this and that, but like, you look at all these different world currencies, and it's like down and to the right. Like, I can just take in ones off a list. Some of these not as bad as other ones, the ones that are like super not correlated to everything. But yeah, generally, as Rex Satoshi was saying, I was reading this wonderful article. I believe it was called like the USD milkshake, or like, I think it's like a theory or a thesis or something like that. Not just like one article you could read about this, but it basically lays out everything that you were just saying. Just this concept that the United States drinks everybody else's milkshake. Like,
They're killing it right now.
If you know this quote from "There Will Be Blood," it's like, I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. He's talking about like extending his refinery over into somebody else's property and sucking up their oil. And he's been taking their gains for like years, and he's like finally telling this guy as he bullies him in his own house. But yeah, it's like, I feel like that's very similar, just in the fact that everything's pegged to United States dollars. Well, not everything, but most currencies and trade is pegged to United States dollars, and so it has to lead back there. And yeah, we tighten things up if everybody's got their own central banks and stuff, but we tighten things up and say that everything's going in a certain direction, and they have to pay back these loans basically, and paying it back in United States dollar. Everything is paid back in United States dollar, and so more and more money flooding into United States dollar. They have to print more of their own money to make up for these things if the United States dollar is raising so much. So like the points for the United States dollar goes up more, and all of a sudden it costs them more. How do they get more money when they're already in debt? They got to print more money and their currency go down. Yeah, it's an interesting economic situation, and I like to bring stuff up like this because not to point fun at any country or anything like that. I feel like it's great. It's good knowledge to know, to understand some of the macro conditions around the world.
You have to understand what's going on with other currencies to really understand why we have Bitcoin and why we're coming together to use Bitcoin.
See, and to like and also just to like other currencies and markets in general, just to be able to push some of the noise aside. When you hear things like, if you were to just look on Twitter or something like that 2 days ago or something like that, it's like, oh, the Bitcoin crash, and it's like, yeah, but the S&P crash and the Great British Pound crash and the yen crash, and like, why is crypto crash trending? Like, and like they're just like there's certain headwind, and some of that is algorithm based and whatever, but like it's just a consistent thing where it's not all just out like news. It's more interesting than being like, this is actually what's happening.
We're so used to Bitcoin being like, we're like right now with these last couple of years, we're so used to Bitcoin being so high right now that we're just like, like what Biffin said earlier, that 20K is boring. It's just like, people don't realize that a couple of years ago, Bitcoin was not $20,000. It was fucking like $4,000 for a little bit there. And it was scary. We're like,
so
like,
wild.
What the fuck is going on?
So
and
wild.
Now it's fucking holding on to 20K. In the worst, this is like the worst, economically, this is like one of the worst times right now that I can remember, like living in. Like I lived through 2008, but I didn't like have skin in the game at that point. Mm-hmm. So
for something that's a joke, it's doing pretty well.
This is just fascinating to me, dude. Everything that's going on right now, it's like we're living a movie.
Yeah, magic internet money.
let me pair on to that and just say that I think you guys maybe remember last week we talked about Swift banking system testing out some blockchain technology. This week we have something that I find to be just as interesting, kind of just hot off the press, which is central banks of Israel, Norway, and Sweden team up to explore retail CBDC. That's a lot of central banks. And this comes out on the heels of the United States Federal Reserve, our central bank, saying that they weren't going to be pursuing any CBDCs anytime soon. But I'm like, the rest of your cohort seems to be pretty adamant to figure things out. And it's interesting timing, because there were also articles floating around this week about different nations or in their central banks basically calling for cryptocurrency regulations on an international level to help out with things. So I'm like, oh, it's interesting timing.
Orchestrated.
It's all happening. So like the Swift banking, and then we get the central bank of Israel and Sweden and Norway to combine and be like, yeah, let's look into this, like not saying blockchain and as the title of this one, but using blockchain technology so that they can do CBDCs. And so it's interesting setup here. And I'm not sure if you're trying to speak to us, Bitfiend, but let me know. You're muted if you are.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't sure if you were speaking. I saw your lips moving.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was doing. I was
got some stuff.
Trying to figure something out.
Gotcha.
They all have to capitulate eventually, because the payment system we have now uses way too much energy and money, and it's just like it's just not going to work forever, because clearly they're all losing money and value. So
I mean, yeah,
you got to figure out where to cut costs. So it's time to show up to the party and just like be like, y'all were right for a second. We're gonna skeet this and fork your guys' shit and make our own, and hopefully you guys use it.
Yeah. Yes, some degree of that I feel like has to be what's happening. Again, because of it's efficient. This is the actual evolution of this type of technology, of what currency is supposed to be, to figure out and in terms of fiat currency, pay taxes with, specifically the United States dollar.
I have a great. I think this is a good time. I actually have a friend in my chat saying I need to get into crypto. Is it too late? I think you guys could give us some really quick answers on that. Right?
It's not too late for one, of course. Definitely not too late. I'd like to point out that people that know more than me about economics have called $100 trillion and $200 trillion crypto market cap by 2030.
And it's at what, like 1.5 right now? 1.5
Maybe,
trillion?
just
maybe
under.
1 trillion.
Just under this morning.
It's,
with
yeah,
the market
it's
dipping.
just under 1 trillion. So like if they're
Which was
saying,
like, we're like, oh, someday it's gonna hit 1 trillion. Oh, whatever.
I remember when it
those
was
days.
just in the 100 billions, you know,
Yeah.
I feel
where it's
like
like it's never gonna hit 1 trillion, and it's in it. Here we are.
my life will be unfulfilled if I don't live into the point where Bitcoin has the same market cap as gold. Like I feel like that's my goal is for just Bitcoin to have the market cap of gold.
It's got a long way to go.
You know what exactly the market cap of gold is? Anybody?
I was looking at
trillion,
something.
10.7 trillion.
It's like a lot more than.
Okay, so I feel
That's
like
achievable. I mean, especially when they bring down that gold meteor, right?
I'll be happy.
They start
I'll
mining
be
the gold
happy
meteor.
to see. I'll be happy to see the cryptos be a total market cap of 10 trillion. I mean, especially when people are thinking 100 to 200 trillion. That means that 10 trillion is inevitable.
Yeah.
20 trillion is inevitable, and it's definitely going to consume the market or the global GDP at one point.
Also, I feel like until we start seeing like companies like acquiring blockchain companies, like I don't feel like you're too late. Like we haven't really seen any companies be like, okay, this fucking crypto shit is great. Let's buy this company because we think they're gonna make us a bunch of money later on. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened yet. Like we're not seeing that yet. So I feel like we're still early, and there's a lot of stuff that's gonna come that we don't even know yet.
Yeah.
That will bring people like your friend in, you know, like, oh, that shit's cool. I wanna try that shit, and then he'll jump on eventually, and
See,
the rest will be history.
if I were to give some advice to your friend, I would say, yeah, it's never a bad time to jump in if you jump in a way that suits you. In my opinion, and I got my start in cryptocurrency with $0. Literally just jumped in the Hive community, started writing posts, and earned my first cryptocurrency. Then I learned about things like airdrops and whatever, like any way that I could get free cryptocurrency. Because I was really skeptical at first. I didn't have a lot of money. I was really skeptical, and so I was like, okay, well, how do I get in there? I'm like, oh, there's free ways, and you learn how you can transfer that money that you get, and maybe you hold on to some, and some of it goes up over time, but you start to learn, and you start to engage in these different communities, and that's the best way in my opinion, is to start off something like that, like before you ever spend any money or anything like that on getting in. Try something like that where, you know, even if you want to put money in, maybe you just hold it off to the side, like in your normal savings or something like that, and something that you understand while you gather this knowledge about, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I actually approach cryptocurrency, so that you can all do it correctly. And when you first start, don't start big. Start small.
Dude, absolutely do not. You can make a stupid amount of money with the smallest amount of money. It's so crazy. Like don't force it.
Yeah, there's no use in doing a big risk.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
I was
small
That is a
amount.
great answer, Smurf. Great response.
I just still remember thinking that I needed $1,000 to invest back in 2015, or 3,500, where I felt like I needed to choose between investing in ETH or starting a business, and so I started a business instead. But the reality of it is, like, all I had to do was not smoke a pack of cigarettes, and I could have put $10, you know, skip a pack once a week, and I would have been able to get like 40 ETH a month.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Along the way, and then like 2 years later, ETH was already at, you know, $9. It was a year later.
Yeah.
So
I feel that.
I'm not gonna blow any smoke up anybody's behind, but there's definitely, I can say with confidence, there's some sort of project that's starting right now that you can buy for dust, and in 4 years you'll say, man, I wish I would have bought that. I guarantee there's some project out right now, and it's just that's like mining gold. But is it too early to start in crypto? No, I don't think it's ever too early to lose
it's
all
never.
your money. First off, I don't think it's ever too early.
Don't do that.
Ever too early
Don't
to lose
put
all
in-
your money, and that's
Might
what I'm
Put in any
saying.
money that you're
Listen, before you
afford
put
to
any money in, just definitely do some research.
Yeah.
If you're willing, if you just want to get some skin in the game,
Coinbase Earn.
I would definitely Coinbase Earn is a
do
great one.
quizzes.
You can
Like,
watch videos and it actually teaches
Hive.
you about different crypto.
Coinbase, like I always like I have a whole series on our YouTube actually where I go through like these videos and we show people like this is what I would do if I was starting and earn a bunch of money that summer. They're old now, so like I need to like remake them more. If you're listening and you feel like going back, go back and look at them in the playlist. But yeah, it was like I used Hive to earn money like from nothing, and then I used Coinbase to earn money from nothing, and I already had an account, so I didn't get as much as I could have got off Coinbase, but I just earned money just because I'm like, oh, I can go back and I'm sure there's some quizzes for me, and just free money. Got an airdrop. And it was set, but that was like 3 ways. And I'm playing games. I play Gods Unchained, and it's play to earn like daily now. You earn the Gods token. Gods token's like 20-30 cents or something like that. So you can just earn this token. 5-10 games a day earns you more than a token. So like, yeah, it's just free money to be made in the market. And there's more games like that. So I always just say like find a game that you like too, like that. If you can add a game, some way of like creating content, blogging or whatever, and doing like research on something like Coinbase that will pay you. Yeah,
Start
all of a
slow.
sudden you got,
Don't jump in the deep end. Just
Yeah.
don't just jump in the deep end, because I think we've all fat fingered transactions and messed things up. I don't know about you, but I have some regrets. So definitely, take your time and be methodical, and even then you can still make some mistakes. So just,
Dude, we should.
there's a
definitely
reason
talk
it's
about all
difficult.
our regrets.
There's a reason it's difficult, and it's because it's important.
Oh,
It's
I
set
guess.
up that way.
Well, not only that, I mean, the research. Not only is research important, but you really have to understand. You really have to understand the revolution that's taken place, and you have to realize and do research on money as well. Don't just do research on Bitcoin, because you don't even know how your own money works.
Oh, he's if I can say anything about him, he's an anarchist, and I'd say he's more up to speed on the financial things of the average citizen. So for that reason, I'm surprised he's not involved in crypto already, because he's part of the resistance. You know what I mean?
Okay,
He gets
right
it,
on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that, and you have to realize, you have to educate yourself on Web3 and what blockchain can do, what it is capable of doing, not just like researching each crypto, but you really have to kind of dig and realize how it works and why it works, and how it's trustless. There's a lot of words or terms that you could say are important. Kind of like when you're in school and you look at the glossary of whatever book, there's always terms in the back. Trustless is the big word in decentralization, where at first, when I first heard it, I'm not gonna lie, it sounded like something that can't be trusted. But when you really pay attention to what's being said, it's trustless, that you don't have to worry about having to trust anything. It's going to work exactly as it should. And that's where smart contracts come in. Not only that, but educators that I am actually in communication with in the space, specifically Decentraland, they are literally teaching their class how to use Web3, how to create MetaMask wallets, how to write smart contracts, how to execute their own token. So like these classrooms have their own little in-class token, and they have their own little economy that he's got going on with the kids, where there's no value or liquidity, but the kids trade it amongst themselves and they're learning blockchain. So
awesome.
like if you're not using blockchain already, then you're falling behind on the times. It's like not using the internet or knowing how to send an email back when AOL was hopping.
Feel that. Let me use that as a segue if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and this is just like I wanted to make sure we get some of these topics out there. This only help reinforce your statement. So if you have more that you'd like to say, I feel like just gather those thoughts. But here's a direct example of what Bitfiend is referring to. Here we have Circle to roll out a free crypto literacy program to HBCUs. So HBCUs are like historical black colleges and universities within America. And my thing from this, when I originally saw that, I'm like, this is great, this is cool, but just why not for more? I know this is like specific to Circle, in this case, Circle's stepping forward and choosing to do this, but we need this type of literacy for HBCUs is great, but for everybody. We need actual financial literacy, and especially with cryptocurrency, when we have things like this with because number one, as you mentioned before, it's very few people in the population that actually understand some financial literacy and like how your money works and this and that, and then now we have things like we just covered in our this episode and last episode, where the Swift banking system is switching to blockchain or testing out blockchain technology. All these central banks are testing out blockchain technology, and the majority of people are illiterate, again, on the financial structure of things as it's being set up in this new way. But the big dogs are starting to step in, and they starting to figure it out, and they're just leaving normal folks behind. So I feel like programs like this are a great start to that, and hopefully it'll spearhead more people to kind of make this like a norm for like all universities and high schools.
Yeah, I feel like Circle definitely needs some good news. Because I think tomorrow Binance is doing that thing where they're like sweeping USDC under the rug. they're like, oh, you sent USDC to Binance, sweep it under the rug and give you BUSD. Use this instead.
Is that what they're doing now?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah, if you could still send USDC to them, but you won't be able to trade it on their platform. You'll have to trade BUSD, USDT, or something. So it's gonna auto convert to BUSD when you send it, and then if you want to, you can even withdraw in USDC if you want to. So it's not that bad, but it's still interesting.
See. Yeah, I feel like both of those things are a step in the right direction toward mass adoption, which I'm going to use to segue into this next thing that I want to cover, which was now on our screen. And that was this recent partnership. I'm not sure you guys seen this earlier this week. Allow you to weigh in. We have Ryan Watt here on Twitter, who is the CEO of Polygon Studios, Polygon Matic. It says, we are thrilled to partner with Robinhood app here at Polygon. Trade and swap crypto with no network fees. Biggest distribution platform for Polygon native apps. Non-custodial wallet. Bring DeFi to the masses and onboarding new users on chain. So that was something that came out this week. Where
Polygon be making their moves, man.
They do.
Polygon
Have they not just
doing crazy
constant?
things? They were just like dealing with Disney and other things. Like, it's huge. I mean,
I fucking hate
blockchain.
Polygon.
Blockchain is
Maybe I need to use it
revolutionary.
again, but a while ago
Why
it
do
was
you
not
hate
there,
Polygon?
yo. Because it wasn't.
Oh,
it,
the
bro.
scaling issues with it, where the transactions were all slow.
It was like Solana, but it's Polygon, but worse.
Yeah, that
Like,
pushed me
you
to
could not-
Phantom.
Wow, when
You
was
couldn't
this?
do anything. This was probably like a year ago. I'll
Yeah.
give him that. It's probably a
really?
lot better now.
Oh yeah, I had
probably
to,
is better.
You were
Oh,
like
Polygon
trying to
is
find
amazing.
RPC issues and stuff. You're like, come
Yeah,
on, man.
it was rough. You're like,
You
man,
had-
why isn't my transaction going through?
It's
Why
nice
can't
the
I
transaction's so
bridge-
cheap, but why do I have to keep increasing it?
Why can't I bridge my shit back for like 4 days? Like, hold on a second. Like, it's
The growing
was-
pains.
yeah.
Wait, sometimes you're
was
too early.
Some scaling it, yeah. That's it. Sometimes you're a little too early, and you gotta be like, man, how am I gonna move this?
Man, because like I got to Polygon like super early once it like it's like, oh cool, you can do this, and I just hopped over, and getting your funds over there, and I was after they were over on Polygon. I know some easier ways to get off now from some dexes, but at first like using was like multi-pay or I don't know what the hell it's called, multi whatever the cross blockchain app is, but it took. I sent their Twitter stuff. It took like 72 hours or something. I'm like, bro, this is not cool. This is not cool. This is exactly why I wasn't using it. Like at that time, I wasn't used to hopping to different chains, and I was like, why would somebody ever go to a different Ethereum layer 2 chain? I didn't understand layer 2s and stuff. I'm like,
oh my god, that was a frustrating learning curve for me.
If I had understood it, from the get go, like it's crazy because I was already using MetaMask, and I was like dealing with CryptoKitties and all this stuff. But then I was playing in a game called 0x Universe, and I
got some planets. You want to buy some?
No, you played it too.
Yeah, you don't want to buy my planets? I got some rare ones.
Hell no, man. They're never gonna freaking sell as it is. I have enough planets. Let's just put it that way. But so this game was originally on ETH, and it made it impossible to play. So they switched to Matic, and I just didn't understand what the hell was going on. So I just ignored it. And man, Matic was dirt cheap back then. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I should have just been buying it. Yeah, me too. Actually, 33 cents.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking
Matic is actually a layer 2.
Yeah. So everybody that was buying Doge and like saying Doge to $1, I'm just like, let me find a coin that's gonna hit $1 before Doge, and that's gonna be Matic. Easy dub right there, and Decentraland too, or Mana.
Oh yeah. I'm like, if you want that, I don't know what the gain on Matic is right now, to probably like 75, or not 75, 25, something like that percent for it to get to like $1, something like that. But I feel like it's an easy up, especially in a bull market. If you're not looking at Matic after all these partnerships in a bull market, like it's definitely gonna have its time.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like
it's gonna go wild.
Well, like
when as high
switch
as
gets
like
flipped.
I think it's gonna hit $100 to $1,000 long term.
Matic?
Yeah,
I think it could get there. I think it get it to 100. Like, it could be at least avalanche price or something like that. And avalanche.
I think it depends though, because this whole ETH proof of work thing. I think that we're in uncharted waters here. Like, if they keep upgrading this thing to where they said it's going to be, but even still.
Well, that's true too. You know what? I haven't spoken to you guys since
it's like
freaking merge.
Even still, I think
you mentioned ETH proof of work. It was at like $4.
What was that? $4?
ETH POW.
Oh, did it?
It was at $4 when it was just on, and now it's at $10 today. I'm like,
yeah, I heard it went up 150%.
Like my buddy, I convinced my buddy to get some, and I didn't get any, but I already have some from the merge anyways. But I'm just like, what?
To Rex suggestion there. My friend he's a Matic bag holder, and he's a fan of Matic, but he also says, now that I'm seeing Ethereum fees so low, I'm skeptical of Matic long term. But as you were saying, Bitfiend, of the higher prices long term, he thinks so as well. But he's just, being realistic of because let's face it, if Ethereum fees are irrelevant, what's the use for Matic for the average user of saying, listen, the reason I'm on Matic is because Ethereum prices are so high.
Right, but if everybody that's using Matic switched to ETH, I think the ETH prices would go up again.
They
wouldn't go up.
Fair point.
They wouldn't go up crazy.
I think that the scaling still needs to be tested. Like, I think that eventually when they and that's the thing. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm pretty sure that these upgrades, like the next upgrade isn't for like a year from now. And then after that upgrade is like a year from then, and then that's supposed to be when they introduce, their scaling solution, where it's supposed to be, faster and cheaper than solution. So even if they do that, it's just like, who knows how many people that scaling will support. Like, to me, I feel like if adoption happened now, like, this is kind of scary. Like, if adoption happened right now, we wouldn't be able to scale. It would be fucking nuts on the blockchain. We wouldn't be able to make transactions, because it would be way too expensive. If everyone was on the blockchain right now, it would be a shit show. So I think that, maybe with the upgrade, it'll be a lot better for us right now. But if we scale again and bring over, say double the Ethereum wallets, double the NFT wallets, bring all those over to Ethereum, proof of work, and see how that scales. I'm not sure exactly. So we might still need layer twos.
I think so, because I mean, there's still tons of people making NFTs every day. Brand new people coming into the space trying to make NFTs every day.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a slow or I wouldn't call it slow. I'd say it's rapidly growing, even though the market is down. But
statistic on that, just to add to it, is that I think it was today was like the first time that in the last 24 hours the ETH addresses like stopped growing. In a long time. Yeah, it was like in a long
Really?
like I forgot how long.
Let me go make
it was
a
deflationary.
That is an indicator
for a little bit.
See, so there's that, and then I have a fun game I want to play with you guys really quickly. But I shared this on Twitter earlier this week. We checked this out before. This is ultrasound.money, and today, it's been happening. It happens once or twice a day. It's like guessing the time on a clock, right? Ethereum is deflationary. Yay! It's one of those deflationary days. Actually, it's been a little bit more deflationary than not lately. So if we scroll to the top of the page here, we can see that projection has been adjusted again. So first, we stopped this super steep projection, and it started going off to the right. And then, I think it kind of continues to go over and to the right a little bit more and more. If that continues, are we going to get kind of like a parabola where it does like a hook type thing?
Where's that? What's the date where it broke from the acceleration and it's been rather deflationary since, or at least stable?
That is was it 15th?
That's actually
further along. I mean, further along. Well, it's increasing, and then it flattens. Right,
26th.
Yeah. Okay, so like a week, just under a week.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And then again, here's things if it were on its normal trajectory. In terms of how much ETH would be produced right now, it's insane because that's 171,000 Ethereum would be in the system right now.
Yeah, if you simulate.
Instead, it's 8,000.
Yeah, that's a massive change.
It's huge. So this is the thing. This is the thing that I keep thinking about with this. And I know people are like, "Oh, did the merge work?"
Watch the burn.
I feel like I've heard of it. It's like another website that's similar to it, no? That was
it's watchtheburn.com that listed how much was being burned until the merge. So they're not even around anymore.
Yeah, this is I think this is something not to be overshadowed by a lot of things happening in crypto in the market right now. Because similar to when the markets were, in my opinion, started to go crazy, which was like before 2020. I know I was leading into from 2019, like that winter into 2020. I was having a field day with cryptocurrency. I don't know about y'all, but I was already paying attention. I didn't need the news to tell me. I remember being in Hawaii, like talking to some friends, like, "Yo, my Bitcoin went up like $500 in value today." Like, what?
Right.
It was and that was in 2019, 2020. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Imagine if something else happens. They've been printing out all this money. I was saying that was before we really started printing this other layer of money. But I'm like, yeah, we've been printing out all this money. Imagine if something happens. If something happens, it's going to go crazy. And sure enough, something happened. And so I can see a similar situation. I'm mentioning that because I see a similar situation for Ethereum here, where instead of the federal government being that printing machine, we basically have the exact opposite situation. So similar to what's happening with the quantitative tightening right now and the United States dollar, tighten things up and the value of that dollar goes up. And I feel like that's happening right now with this. And we started the quantitative tightening around, I want to say, was it February? Was it January? It was early this year. And it took us a month or two to see those results, and I think we're going to see a similar situation here. It's going to be a little bit of time before we see those true results, but ultimately, especially if the market flips at all, like the macro situation, I think this is way more bullish for Ethereum than most people are giving it credit. And if that does happen, that would be another thing that keeps Ethereum kind of exclusive or to people that really only want to spend money on it, because if the price go up so much, like if Ethereum goes up 10x from here, which if it's 10 times more deflationary, which it has been, then it should go up maybe 10, like that should be possible. Like it's in the cards then. And if that happens, then the $4 that everybody's paying right now becomes $40, and that's not so affordable until a year out or 2 years out, as you guys were saying, when the next portion of things gets fixed, and then what happens in between the next time. Yeah, it's a conundrum.
Oh wow, this website was inspired by Watch the Burn. Nice.
Mm.
The ultrasound.money.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Damn, 8 gwei. 8 freaking gwei for gas.
I mean, it keeps jumping. It's jumping. Like it was like 20 something when I first went to the page actually to share this with you guys, and then
Yeah,
it
that
jumped
was
down to like
earlier.
15. And
It hit
now
as
it's
high as
9.
26.
Yeah. Moving on. I want to bring this into a few lighthearted topics for you guys. This first one up is on the NFT spectrum of things, and this is I feel like this might be a pretty brief one, but this is Christies. Yeah, that place that I've never been shopping. Christies launches blockchain NFT trading platform. So I have not looked into their platform yet, but I feel like I might actually do so just to like be that reviewer. Like, you know what? I've used a lot of these platforms. I'm gonna be a harsh critic and see if this is worth any salt, or if you guys had a terrible team do this. It's kind of my approach on it right now. But Christies, yeah, launching their own NFT marketplace. What this means to me is just that, you know, it's not over. It's not over. It's just starting. Why are they like the builders build in a bear market? So yeah, if they're still setting up and all these other deals are happening, and you're still getting these luxury goods places popping in a bear market, they're trying to set up shop for something. And I'm not going against all the wealth in the world. That's like, yeah, you pick and choose your bets. Like even, and I'll say this about it, like. And one way where I'm going against all the wealth in the world is like, you know, if you like Bitcoin, but that's not really all going against all of it, because a lot of it likes Bitcoin. And that normie side of things of the wealth like stocks. And did they make a horrible choice during the pandemic? No. Like the ones that knew what they were doing chose stocks, and the money went up. And so here we have the luxury side of things being like, yeah, actually NFTs and a marketplace of our own. That's where it's at. And I'm like, that's probably where it's at. Like,
I'm not surprised by a luxury brand that caters to people with too much money is trying to say, hey, let's get into the NFT market, to be fair.
True. So
that's all I got to say about that. But that definitely, as somebody in my chat said, further adoption, further legitimacy.
Yes, yeah, and legitimacy. I feel like that's a good terminology for this. Yeah, that one won't leave too much time. This is a more fun one on a same NFT train of things, and this one is to do with a game everybody here's probably heard of, Pubg. Dun 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 dun. Last week we covered Grand Theft Auto's co-creator jumping into Web3. Just a little hint to go check that out. And this week it's Pubg Creator introduces NFTs, metaverse, blockchain features, and a new upcoming game, Artemis. So Pubg Creator Brandon Green, in an interview on September 27th, said he plans to incorporate blockchain, metaverse, and non-fungible tokens to its Earth-sized virtual and open-world game, Artemis. The blockchain-powered game will provide new opportunities and experiences to players and developers. Moreover, Metaverse and NFTs will introduce interesting in-game features, items, and tokens, opening a new digital economy. I forget where it is, and they say this, but he's like, yeah, it's not about the money. It's about what you can do, and that's what too many people get like caught up on that type of stuff. And when something like this happens, and they want to go with the narrative that the news is painting, or that their favorite, you know, traditional artist that thinks they're woke or whatever the hell is saying. And it's like, fam, you've wanted this in your games all your dang life. You've actually wanted this. There's no way you can tell me that game that you played, that you loved, and now nobody plays it anymore. And like, you know what? Yeah, it would be great if I could just never see those items again. Like, or I could never trade or sell any of the things to somebody else who's going to play that game more than me right now. Like, no way. No way. So you can go buy the game that you actually want. Why are people so upset with GameStop? Like, get out of here.
So,
killed.
So, somebody in the chat, Twin Gat said, "Cue the hate," right? So, like with NFTs, the instant, like, right? So, okay, Smurf, I know you're big on what is it, like Thorchain, as far as like stuff that's like carbon neutral or things of that nature, right? Or at least you're aware of it. You talk about it. You don't hide from it. So with Ethereum, supposedly using less energy now. So like, let's just say with the NFT argument, the instant knee-jerk reaction against NFTs, we eliminate the energy consumption. What's the next argument that people have with NFTs in relation to something like this?
After the energy consumption?
Yeah. Like what's the next thing they're going to be mad about once that's been solved?
Satoshi said, hand up, I'll let you take it.
It's going to be that no one wants to fucking wait for, like, first of all, gamers, we hate load screens. We don't like waiting for transactions to go through. Like, there's no way we're gonna wait for transactions to go through on our games.
Microtransactions, right?
Yeah, that's bullshit. So that has to go away. It's just like gamers hate that other people can buy characters that they've spent time grinding for. So the one thing I don't particularly like what we're seeing now is that, I mean, and there's a reason why we're seeing it, is because, developers are trying to get ahead of their game being a pay-to-win game. So they only want cosmetics to be in their game. I mean, they only want cosmetics to be like, things that you can purchase with money on their game. So
that's like, what Video Horror Society is doing specifically, from my understanding, is anything you put into the game, it's only aesthetic. There's you're not getting any advantage by
I
paying.
Get it. I understand it. Because you don't want your player feeling like, someone else can just come by and spend a little bit of money and they're automatically better than you when you spent however many hours playing.
Yeah, that's how big time is.
For a blockchain, we're gonna have to figure out a way to mitigate to come in the middle of that somehow, or
where
just
early
make
investors still get something kicked back, but at the same time, you can't assume to have a windfall just because you got into a game early.
The other thing is that there aren't fucking fun blockchain games right now. Like, there are very few blockchain games that are like, okay, all the games we have out here to play. What game am I going to play? You're not going to fucking go and play a blockchain game unless you really like Blanco's blockchain, which is kind of like a a Fall Guys type game, something that's like a party game that's fun. We're just now getting those games. Like, I think that Big Time could be that type of game where people actually want to play that game.
There's undead blocks too.
Yeah, to where like people actually want to play the game. So it's just like we need those things first, to where people want to play the game and there's not a Ethereum transaction between everything that you do on the blockchain.
There's Mines of Zolarnia is like that, but on BNB blockchain, and it can be a little tedious because even when you pretty much everything in the game requires a transaction. And then you have to sign 4 smart contracts on top of that just to get started.
The game is just to sign contracts. It's a contract simulator.
I feel like that's where some of them some of the early ones are messing up in that sense. I feel like just based on trying to be too early, or not trying too early, but they're too early to market. Basically, I'm not trying to like it's bad that you want it to be there so early, but they're too early to market. I was saying this in like 2021 when people were like, "Oh, look, NFT games were finally." So I'm like, "This is cool." It's probably I still like Gods Unchained. There's not a lot that I like though, but I was saying at the time that it's gonna be like 3 years before we see really good games that we actually like. It's gonna be 2023 when they first start to hit. 2024, 2025, and we start getting wow, these are the really really dope games. And and I was saying that because when we look at the time that it takes to make games from the studios that we actually like, they're not making those games. Yeah, they're not making these games in 1 year. They're making these games in 3, 5, 10 years.
A while.
It takes a long time.
Now they're cutting corners on making games. Sorry.
Yeah.
So-
No, like that's exactly it. It's just like it's gonna take them time, and if they're just finding out about this technology, which a lot of them did in 2021, then we need to give it to 2024 before we get what we actually want. Right now, we're
point.
getting people that are early and they're developers and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, you want this?" But the smarter, like higher level people that are, like have a hybrid team at least are like, a lot of this stuff should be handled on or off chain, and then we give them an on chain asset, often like based on their in-game stats. Like it won't all be, and eventually it'll mesh a little bit better, and there will be like a seamless transactions that'll like, especially with these roll-up chains and stuff like that. It's possible. All of a sudden, it's a lot easier for them to do these things. But right now it's just way too early.
I think
it's like if you feel like you're late to crypto, like just start looking at some of these games, and you'll be like, I am way early.
Yeah, that's a way to.
Yeah. It's like playing Atari. Like okay. So I've always said it is, the early stages of NFTs was being an early adopter as an investment. It gains adoption. The early investors create an advantage. They have a gaming advantage. They leverage that gaming advantage and sell. And that's, that I did that with Splinterlands. I did that with Axie.
Yep.
I support the platform. I support the program. And when it hits big, I'm going to cash out because I was there when nobody else was doing it. That's that is definitely got to go the way of the dodo. That's definitely got to go the way of the dodo. Like I get early support but long-term solution is not having a competitive advantage over people just because you have some money. That's listen, I'm not a capitalist, but I don't necessarily like the word exploitive. Exploiting. It's like anything where you make a couple bucks, you're inherently exploiting. I don't necessarily like that, but there's definitely leverage points with some of the early crypto platforms that used forms of exploitation to gain an advantage and gain some money. And let's face it. So does that have a long-term advantage? No, I don't think it does. I think you have to, if that's your early stages, you have to adapt. And some of the early platforms that have adapted to that and figured out like that's not long term, they can still save face and reverse course and make things right. But that's definitely the early form. I think long-term success, the game has to be a good game, and the NFT enhances the game that's already there. The game would have to stand on its own without crypto blockchain technology.
First of all, the game
and the
has
blockchain
to be
has to leverage it.
Number one, the game has to be fun for people to play. People have to want to play the game because it's a fun game, not because it's a blockchain game. Like, absolutely number one. You're absolutely right about that.
Yep. And I just have a very small point to finish off, and I'm done. But Bitfiend knows about this as far as Thetan Arena. I don't play it as much. I still like it. I just haven't played it very much lately. And like we were kind of talking about it a little bit. And I literally was on an airplane and I saw some dude and I was like, is he playing Thetan Arena? Like just some random dude on an airplane, a couple rows down. I'm looking, I'm like, that sure as hell looks like it. It wasn't the Thetan Arena. It was the original skin of it. So then Bitfiend and I were talking. He's like, well, that kind of sketches me out. They're just reskinning a game and throwing a blockchain on top of it. And then we look into it and we find out that the people created the game. And then they're like, yo, let's do some blockchain. Let's do something with blockchain. So they reskinned it themselves and then so they have two games and one is without the blockchain and one is with. And I think that's cool as hell. And then like Bitfiend said, that actually makes me like it even more. And admittedly, I haven't played it a whole lot lately.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Still on my phone. But it's a fun game, man. It's something you're waiting for the doctor or whatever, blah 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 blah. It is a fun game. So those kind of games
MOBA, it's a pretty traditional MOBA, that it functions very well, and it works. I've heard a lot of drama over it because I'm in their Discord. I don't really.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention, but I just see people were upset not too long ago. But for the most part, I haven't really looked into it or played since we talked about it. But
regardless of the rewards, it's a fun game. It is a fun game.
And I was like, if you like Thetan Arena and you like that mobile style game, another MOBA to look up in blockchain that's active is Spider Tanks on Gala. So Spider Tanks, and that I don't know if it's still play to earn. They had like some play to earn events where you could like earn these tokens, but that's a fun one. I think it's that much more smooth. It's not on mobile though. And this is one that was concocted with blockchain first in mind through the Gala network of things. I don't know what Gala call themselves, a network or whatever. But yeah, that's a really cool one. I wanted to wrap off this. I believe this is the last gaming topic that I had here, just to share with folks. With because we were talking about it needs to be a fun game, needs to be a good game. From the graphics, this one looks to be good. I'd have to see the rest to do a little bit more research on this one, but this one did come across my desk today, and this is called Dark Throne. It's an RPG hack and slash. And so another hack and slash that I like to reference all the time is World Wide Web. That's an easy hack and slash. In fact, you know what?
World Wide Web is a hack and slash?
When you do battle in it, yeah.
I didn't know there was battles.
Yeah, they have like little different things and yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Crazy events.
They were more like Pokemon battles though.
It was like I forgot what game they were trying to skin. I can't even find the actual website for now. But no, it was game where they like reskinning. I forgot what game they were like trying to copy a little bit and make it like that. But yeah, World Wide Web is another type of. So I don't know if this one's gonna have graphics similar to that or not. But this was one that recently launched on Polygon, and Polygon's been getting all that attention lately. So I wanted to bring that to people's attention. Apparently, it did just launch, so that's a new game out there to play.
Before we move on from.
Is literally what I was gonna say. You go ahead. You go first, right?
Okay, before we move on from gaming, I want to talk about something that you said a little bit ago, Eric, about how we're gonna have to get away from the whole being early means that you make more money than someone who shows up and is playing the game for free. I feel like we're gonna have to come to like some type of agreement. Like not specifically me and you, but like there's gonna have to be like a happy median between.
You need fundraising. So how do you leverage that exactly fundraising? Yeah,
you need fundraising. And then, dude, I think that gamers. I know that they're like, they don't want to be involved with how much money is being made in gaming.
If you grind the game, you should have some sort of governance though from the get, and that governance should have more value if you're in early.
If you're grinding the game, if you've shown that you have played this game, you've put in the time, and you've looted and you fucking killed these bosses, there needs to be a reward for that. That is a monetary reward, and the companies need to make a pool of funds for people who are grinding that game. So I just want to say that I feel like we just haven't got there yet. We haven't got to where these companies are actually thinking about making it valuable to actually play their games. So I think that eventually we'll get there, but also gamers need to see that this is coming. I don't think of myself as a capitalist, because I try to think of that we don't need to do everything because you're gonna make money. I feel like that mindset is a poison, and I feel like that's what's corrupting what's going on right now. But I feel like
hyperized.
I feel like if you do have the money, you have to try to give it to the spread it around to the people who are in your ecosystem, and try to help them out. And gamers need to realize that this is coming, and that we're going to be able to make money off of assets that we get in games.
I think Splinterlands has a pretty good model.
A wild model, yeah.
I mean, their model is insane, and it works, and they keep adding to it, and it works even better when they add to it. And they have their own economy, and their crypto token acts as the governance token as they migrate towards a more of like a DAO situation instead of the company making these decisions. It'll be.
You said Splinterlands?
Yeah, on the Hive blockchain. Well, I mean, it's on multiple, but Hive primarily.
Right, and I mean, I just think that they have it figured out pretty well. And they have a lot of syncs and tournaments where you can win a bunch of money, but you still have to pay your crypto to enter the tournament. And Some of them are a little expensive. Some of them are very cheap, and some of them are free.
You can rent cards. You can rent a
Yeah.
deck. Yeah, you can completely rent a deck.
Hey Eric, what were you gonna say about gaming before I kind of fucking interrupted you like an asshole?
Well, to add on to what you had to say before I go there just really quick is I think there's definitely got to be if you're an early adopter and you're an early player of the game, you're going to earn some sort of governance tokens that you can leverage the governance tokens and sell if you do want to move on from that project onto something else.
Exactly.
Everybody should have that right. So I do, but I think the value there is, look, you're here from day one. You know, these actions that you did are not things that bots could have done. You proof of time, proof of work, proof of gaming, blah, 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 blah. You should have, however small or large, a fraction of governance in this ecosystem where, you know, if people really want some sort of decentralized game or some sort of way that grows organically and democratically, is your time that you put in, you're going to get a sliver of the ownership of that game. And if you do get in early and you show that work early, that is going to be a larger portion of the pie than for somebody who's joined 10 years after the game's already become successful. I think that's fair. I don't think necessarily like, oh, you know, get in early and then you get this special NFT that beats everybody and you hit them, you kill them with one hit and it just slaughters everybody. Like, who's going to want to keep playing that game? This one dude just keeps coming in and slaughtering everybody because he's got the golden fucking sword, you know, the Schwartz or whatever, you know, and he just comes in and just swings it around. So like, yeah, there's definitely got to be a balance of that. But I think I honestly think the key is some sort of governance ownership of early adoption and leverage with the time that you put in. You can't just come in and buy a bunch of money and own it, no matter how much money you have. But it is going to be a factor because that helps funds the people that were the early adopters. So that was my point that I want to add on top of you. But before we moved on from the gaming, Twin did say, I bought the access pass for Dr. Disrespect's new game Dead Drop. Seems like a AAA FPS title with NFT integration. I see it as a first, so I bought in. Did any of you guys have any information on that?
I have not, but I need to look into it.
Okay, cool. Maybe we'll talk
really
about
need to
that
look
next
into
week
it
or
really
something.
good. What's it called
Or
again?
we can even
It's
have
called
Twin
Dead
on the
Drops
show
or
next
something.
week.
What's it called?
Dead Drop?
Dead
You
Drop?
could probably just do Dead Drop Dr. Disrespect. And the fact that none of
Yes.
you know about it and he already bought in, I think is
I
a
know
good
about
sign.
it.
Yeah,
I
I've
know
heard
about
about
it,
it.
but
Heard about it.
I didn't know that you could buy in anything. So
Well, let's
That's interesting.
let's chat about it in the Discord this week, and then maybe have Twin on next week, and he can fill us in, or we can
Wait,
talk
is
about
he
it.
making this?
No.
No,
I don't,
no,
unless
no,
maybe he
no.
is. I thought Eric was saying
He
that
said he
just
bought
said-
in.
I'm
He
like-
said he bought in, whatever that means.
Yeah.
He said he'd love to talk about it.
if you bought this early, fucking not financial advice, but don't sell too early. wait until all of us are like, oh yeah, we know about this, like this is awesome, and then
He
that's
says
when he'd
he-
be like, that's
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
sell.
He sells up a fake NFT to the whole crew. No, he says he owns some of the variants. It's an NFT. He also has 2 early copies of the game I can show you called Snapshots. So yeah, so we'll talk to him through the week, and then we'll have him on if he wants to join us next week. Just
be
to
awesome.
hang out and in addition talk about that. That'd be cool. Yeah, sounds interesting. I gotta admit, man, I played the Call of Duty, the free open beta this past weekend, and I haven't played Call of Duty in like 4 years, and I have never played it on PC, and I killed it. I had a lot of fun. I did really good. They
In a
almost
build
got
of
my
the game
$70.
that will never happen again.
Oh
It's
my
really good.
It's like Madden. They just keep releasing the same thing over and over
I
with
know,
different
it's
names.
ridiculous.
But they almost got my $70 the other day. They almost got it.
Dude, so imagine if I have a cousin who plays WoW. Imagine if you played WoW for fucking 14 years and you were getting, a fraction of 3% of what they made off WoW for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a ridiculous amount of money.
Even
that
a
you
tiny
would have made.
throwaway fraction of it is still an immense amount
Yeah.
of money to any average gamer. Yeah, 100%.
See.
And that's what people. That's I used to, not to get too off tangent, but I used to work on a farm, and it was like that guy. Like, if I felt that I had like long-term ownership of that farm, dude, I would work 20-hour days. But I just felt he was using me for cheap labor, so I'd only show up the minimum amount I had to. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, when people feel like they're getting like a sliver of the pie, man, you see people act different. You see people have different loyalties, man. It's wild.
I think this is a good segue for the general conversation that we were on, which is connected with gaming and Web3 and NFTs and ownership. And kind of grinding that game for some type of ownership, because a lot of these games, as we're talking about them, will incorporate NFTs in some manner, and so some of those NFTs will hold more value than other ones. We already see this in the art space. We see this in gaming too. Like, there's like a Gods Unchained card. It's like, I forgot how much this thing sells. Like, it's always put on the market for. It's like, I want to say it's over $1 million, but maybe it's just hundreds of thousands. It's way too much money for anybody to want to like mess with that. But that's like the level of value that comes to certain items like these. And you see the same thing in traditional world for certain games that are just really old in a vintage condition. So that segueing us into sorry, were you? Okay, yeah. That segueing us into this right here, which is someone borrowed $1.3 million in Ethereum using a mutant ape NFT as collateral. So
man,
that's like the future that we have to like look for. Like, but like that's like there's this Bitcoin meme.
Future.
There's this Bitcoin meme. Hold on, this is one of my favorite Bitcoin memes. Here.
Those mutant apes are fucking cool though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I like them.
They're fucking kind of cool. But dude, so when I was trying to get some of my people in NFTs, I'm like, I don't know how to explain what's going on here, but this is the only way I can explain it. You can buy stupid shit for a very small amount of money and sell it to somebody else for a stupid amount of money, and it's the stupidest thing you've ever seen. But people will give you a amount of money that you will think like, why would you give me this money for this picture? That's how I would explain it to them. I'm like, look, this is the dumbest thing you've ever seen, but people are doing it. And if you want to try to learn and try to, find something that you can buy for a little amount of money and sell for a lot of money, you need to try to figure this out.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's because it's in its first stages, and it's a lot of speculation right now, like especially in the NFT market, because a lot of them just didn't have utility. But as we're starting to see more and more of them are getting that utility, and that's kind of like I have this meme up on screen, and that's kind of like the point behind this meme here, which is like in the early days of Bitcoin, it's just all speculation, this and that, like doesn't really have that value. But this is an old Bitcoin meme, but it's what are you trying to tell me? I can trade my Bitcoin for millions someday? You could say that about NFTs. Are you trying to tell me I can trade my NFT for millions someday? And as it comes to be with this article, no, Neo, I'm telling you, when you're ready, you won't have to. And so this person waited long enough with their NFT, and now they don't have to sell the NFT. They were able to borrow $1.3 million and still have that NFT, and then take that 1.3 million and do whatever they want with it in DeFi, or like take it out. It's just
then if they can't pay that back, they just lose their NFT. And
I was gonna say,
what?
Would you ever give that NFT? Would you ever give that money back for the NFT?
Probably not.
I probably would. I'd make it back. I'm gonna make it back.
Y'all get that.
Look, this is how I'm gonna make it back.
I would
take that NFT. I just sold my NFT for 1.3 million.
Take the NFT and I'm throwing my keys in the fucking lake. I don't know what happened to that wallet anymore.
That's too short.
I lost it in a boating accident.
It's too short.
You're right. You're right, Smurf.
You got options.
You're right, Smurf. It's short logic. You're 100% right.
If you have it's short logic.
I'll be short that 1.3 million, boy.
Look, if you got this is the not some financial advice from Smurf's side of things, but because you can do something with that in a very tangible way of making consistent money to the point that you would just be retired. Like, you have the 1.3 million. What are you going to do with it? Maybe you find everything for it, but you can also keep it in DeFi and make a ton of money off of that. Again, to the point that it'd be a salary for 1.3 million. Let's say you switched all the Ethereum into USDC immediately. So now you have $1.3 million worth of USDC. And so let me pull up this calculator actually really quickly.
I'm gonna tell you
So
what
we
you're
can
about
get
to do.
And you
You're
dip.
about to sell $1 million of that USDC and put
No.
it in your bank account,
Nah.
and then
Dip.
take $300,000 and
Guys,
do
why?
and
Why?
do whatever
Wait
else
a
you want to do
minute.
with it on
Why?
DeFi.
Fade out
Because you have to manage your risk in DeFi, and if you don't take the $1 million, you're gonna regret it. You're not going to regret it. You
I'm gonna
could
put it in
possibly regret it
USDC.
later.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I'm gonna
could
put it.
possibly
I'm gonna,
regret it
look,
later.
Wait, Satoshi. So here we go. I'm gonna put it in USDC like Bitfiend is saying, because there's options for me in DeFi. Like, and if I was in traditional finance, maybe I want to get bonds or buy some type of dividend stock. But
Or
I'm not gonna
ETF.
find a bunch of dividend stocks that are actually allowing me to hold the United States dollar value too. Because if I could find like a bank account that was gonna pay me 30% per year from holding United States dollars, I would do it. So $1.3 million times 30%, which you can find in DeFi. That's not
Easy.
insane to
That's
find.
stable. That's
Yeah.
like a
That's-
reasonable
Yeah.
return.
So what is that?
I
What is
feel
it?
you.
$1.3 million times 30%. Oh,
If I would have had $1 million,
$390,000 per year salary from DeFi because you decided not to sell it. And so and that's year one. And so what? You're not going to invest any of that in anything else crypto because now, and you're not paying all these taxes on it and stupid stuff. Like I'm like,
Nah, I'm like I said, I'm gonna
you
sell
got
the
it from
million,
collateral,
and I'm
so you're not gonna pay
gonna
on that
play with
collateral unless you cash
300K.
it out.
my
paying a lot
move
in
is I'm.
taxes.
That's true.
It
Uncle
depends.
You
Sam,
just need a good
Uncle Sam
account.
is
Get a
gonna eat
million
off of
if
me
you-
that year for taxes. Sorry.
But if you
But,
sell the NFT or whatever, you have the million. You're gonna pay taxes on it. So you're already down.
Well, you didn't sell the NFT yet. The
250K.
NFT is held as collateral at this point.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
if it's
and
a
so
loan.
the
Basic-
collateral is like, so you don't own anything on the collateral unless you're like cashing
You're
it out.
skirting on the-
once
on
Uncle
taxes.
Sam
once
hiding
you
behind
cash
a
it
tree,
out,
like
you're gonna pay on
Well,
all that
what
percentage that you cash
what kind of
out.
taxes do you pay on a loan?
You're not gonna pay
It's-
on the loan itself. On the
Yeah.
that's just fine. You're not gonna pay until you actually
You see,
cash
that's
out
when
the
you
cash. Like and that's why I'm like I would hold it in USDC because like once you start converting, you're still gonna pay some type of tax on that.
I mean, the
I'm
crazy
gonna
part
pay
is, and, like,
taxes.
you can't
I'm gonna
really
be mad
time.
as fuck.
You can't really time the market, but I mean, what's 64? What's 22% of a million? Let's see, times. That's 220 grand.
100,000.
I'm like,
something.
My-
Divided by 12.
And you
You're
still
looking
have
at.
the
You're
money.
looking at. You could take the $1 million, stake it in today's market because we're going sideways. It's not too down, but like, it's risky as hell though. Like the riskiest shit you could possibly.
That's
do.
it. It's the risk. I'm like,
But you're-
man, I can take this
But
and
you're
stake
but
it,
you're
but
looking
man,
at $18,000 a month in stake rewards at 22%.
And it's not like you don't have that money. You still have that money. You're just saying in your case, you're not even thinking about ever coming back for the NFT. All I'm saying is I'm still looking to come back for the NFT, and if things work out accordingly, because if they work out accordingly, it's only going to take me 3 years of just staking stable coins anyways. I'm just going to stake stable
I
coins for
don't-
3 years.
everybody
Yeah.
else is like, take the money and run. Fuck that NFT.
depends.
You already
It
have the
depends.
money in stable coins. You already have the money.
Yeah.
what
It
I
depends
love
though,
about
like you have to
this-
realize how much you work, how hard you work, how long it takes you to make 40 grand. You know, if you're making 40 grand a year, you're looking at $1 million.
boy, I'm about to be
That's
gone. But
2, 4,
anyway,
6,
You
8,
still got
10.
the million.
That's 20. That's still that's
You still
still
have it.
sorry. That's still 10 years worth of income that you have there. 10
My-
years. is a
my
long fucking
biggest-
time.
My biggest problem
And then
is
you're
as
going
soon
to
as I
double it
start
in 3
hearing,
years.
as soon as I start seeing that 50 grand a year, like just DeFi rewards, I'm like, peace, I'm out. I got some land, I'm out. I'm growing potatoes. You ain't gonna see me no more. You know, I
Nope.
got that small mind thinking of like just the smallest in and I'm out. You know what I mean? Just the smallest little stake.
I
and
grow
I'm
my
outta
I grow
here.
my passive as much as I can, and so
Yeah, that's what I
granted, so slow and steady wins the race.
it does. I agree. That
So-
being, I'm gonna have to get out of here, guys. I'm sorry, but that being
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
it's just like,
Slow and steady.
what's great about this space is that we all had 4, 5 different opinions about what we would have done with that shit, and
know.
it's our choice. It's our choice what to do with it,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
no
the
one
crazy
here is
part
wrong.
of everything.
I have
No
a
one
I have
here
a
is
shit
wrong.
coin. I have a shit coin that I think I can get it to 10 million, but it's not even at 1 million yet. So like, how am I gonna feel when it gets to 1 million? How do I not take the million because I want 10 million? So
Like, no one is wrong for their opinion or what they would do, which is
yeah,
the beautiful thing to
exactly.
me. It's just that, but the thing about it is that you were here and you tried to make a play on that. It's just like, and it's just like people are going to tell stories about people like us back, later on, like that these people were online fucking taking risks with this with this like blockchain and Web3 and like this internet, this magic internet shit. Like these people were here doing this
Hey,
stuff, and they're gonna
spell
write books
token.
about us.
And as long as it's your keys, it's your decision.
You know,
And I totally got more spell tokens this week.
hey, you know, you
You
see
know.
the chart going up.
That's that magic internet money, bro.
Heck yeah, yeah. I'm all about the
Appreciate
borrowing
you,
and lending
Rex.
markets. Yeah, appreciate you, Rex.
Appreciate you
Yeah,
guys,
man.
man.
Have a good one.
We'll see you next week.
See, that's going to lead us into this next topic that I want to cover, which is a slight direction change from straight up NFTs and whatnot. But this is more of a play to earn sector, and I just want to point this out as something else that's still developing in the blockchain industry, and that is
We really need Sean up here for that, right? Because
Oh.
he's been talking about some of this stuff, right?
for audience. Has he been in?
I don't know about audience, but just as far as music NFTs,
Oh, I haven't seen him.
he's
really
been
dive-
dicking around with it.
I
So
felt
we
like he was
should
messing with
definitely talk to him.
was it Apregio? I feel like I saw him messing with that somewhere or something. But yeah. I mean, we need Sean up here anyways. He's dodging the show, acting like he don't know
Yeah.
nothing.
No,
but
he's
yeah.
like, I can't add anything, bro. You're part of like a fighting NFT project. Like, no, dude. Like, he's way too humble, way too humble. Yeah, he's got plenty to add. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Wanted to bring this up. This is Audius for anybody who's never seen Audius before. It's I would say it's akin to a SoundCloud for Web3, where you can earn tokens, their Audius token, for uploading your own music or curating a playlist of music. It's a whole music featured project on the blockchain. So interesting one to check out if you're into music at all. The highlight here is that they have 7.5 million monthly users, which is, I feel like that's a lot of users listening to their music, and there's some good music on audio, so I can understand
That's a
why.
decent chunk of people, man.
Yeah, they also have a partnership with TikTok, so tracks from Audius end up on TikTok, so that's been done for a while now. So I'm sure that's helping foster some of that. Yeah, have either of
My
you?
dog out.
Oh, no problem. Have either of you heard of Audius or have any experience with it?
No, I haven't. I'm curious.
Checking it out then. Yeah, you're like, oh, that's new. Yeah. It's pretty cool platform. If you haven't checked it out before, I would say give it a try, give it a chance, and yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I know a lot of people have done like Web3 music projects and stuff, and I know a lot of people have done it off of Hive and off of Steam, and like I'm just aware of the people within that ecosystem doing some of the music stuff. I think there's more of a market for music and NFTs than there are for gaming and NFTs, man. Like, it's just the
Yeah, I agree. I have music NFTs.
Yeah, same.
yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things, like, just in the way of like podcasting has become more decentralized. Everything else is going to just kind of slowly become more decentralized, and that's what I always liked about Steam and Hive and DLive is the content monetization. You got a lot of people creating a lot of content and valuable information and passing it on to people for free with no guarantee of anything back. And then, like, with some of these ways that we've monetized it is a really cool way of like just showing some appreciation. And I really feel music is lagging in that in comparison to all the other technology, man.
Yeah, it hasn't changed in a while, but I mean, yeah, I think Web3 is trying to propel it forward. There are some really cool blockchain projects coming along. Like again, I mentioned Arpeggio. I'm not saying it correctly. It's like APPREGIO or something like that. Where you make music on the blockchain. There's Audius that I know of. There was a whole bunch of different music platforms that have to do with copyrights with artists like Blau and Nas and whatever else that have to do with sharing their rights with their fan base. So it's moving to the blockchain. And then there's more fan things, the just collections on OpenSea and Wax and whatever. But yeah, it's forming. It's forming. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see where all this blockchain stuff goes.
I've always seen it as something as simple as like, yo, you put X amount of this. There's a crypto that's involved with the platform. You have to buy in, and you have it in your bank account. And then say, for instance, you want to stream, so you just play this music, and then you're just like, it's depleting your account as you play it on stream or something like that. And it's just like a way of for you to trickle money out to the artists as you play it on stream in the background or something like that. And it's not quite open source music, and it's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it sounds like
just kind of novel shit like that I think about, you know.
Was it you or was it Satoshi that was saying that they invested in Gala music nodes?
I never did.
Okay,
no.
So maybe that's Satoshi. Yeah, that sounds like a lot like kind of like what the Gala music nodes is actually trying to do. It's they're sounds like they're kind of making like an internet radio type of situation where individuals that buy these nodes are kind of like the radio host and choose what artists to put on these. Yeah. So it's a really cool thing, and like that's just like a Snoop Dogg project and stuff too. So
well, let's face it. Like some musicians get paid a lot of money for just having their songs on a certain playlist. So then it gets to on Spotify. So then it gets to a point where the playlist creators are creating money. You know what I mean? There's no reason that can't be decentralized.
Yeah.
That whole thing can't be decentralized.
See.
I mean, that's just my quick thoughts. Is there's a lot of people that just all they do is create playlists. And all these artists are getting views, are getting listens just from the playlists, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
The whole ecosystem, the more you learn about it, is like, dude, you know, with like you fast forward 5-10 years, and we're in a position where blockchain is really undermining a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Just effortlessly undermining it. Because that's just a protocol that people have built. It's just not undermining of it.
These is hard facts to combat. This is hard facts to combat. Before we jump into, we have like 2 more topics, general topics that I want to kind of move through. Or I guess there's like almost like 3, but the last one is just like more of a thing to mention, kind of funny thing. But before we move into that, there was one article in particular that I wanted to share with everybody on stream, which was this one right here. I'll read that title, of course. It says Upstart Crypto Carbon Credits Platform. And the only other one that I knew before this one was like ClimaDAO. But Upstart Crypto Carbon Credits Platform raises $2 billion to tap Internet of Energy. And so that's why I ended up sharing this today, because I was like, oh, do I know this? Like, I'm like, I've never heard of this thing. Scroll. And I was like, wait. Did that say $2 billion?
That's a lot.
Yeah, I had to roll that back because I'm about to show you guys another screen.
It's the new organic, isn't it? It's the new fucking organic.
It's the carbon credits thing. It's the carbon credits thing because it's like a tax write-off situation.
Movement. Yeah,
it's like a tax write-off situation for the rich. If you're getting, or like big corporations and stuff like that, they want to like how Google is able to say on their homepage, like, oh, we're actually carbon neutral. It's like, really? Are you though, or are you just buying a bunch of carbon credits? Because that's like the real thing that a lot of these businesses like to do these days. But regardless, that, you know, this is a pay attention to where the money's going type of situation, and so that's why I wanted to have this in here as just paying attention to things. And I have this over here in this other window. This is DeFi Llama. I was gonna play this game with you guys.
Just pardon my knee-jerk reaction to anything like carbon and climate and like.
No, you're fine.
I am all about like no-till gardening and like regenerative gardening, and like that just makes sense. It's logical, and then people want to like take it into like it's carbon neutral. You're sequestering carbon, blah blah blah. It helps fight climate change, and I'm just like, you're not wrong. Shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not why I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it because it's the right way of doing it, but. So when you start like, I'm not hating on you for bringing it up. I thank you for bringing it up because it gives me something to bitch about. But I'm not against it. But it's just, but again, it's just another decentralization of an economy, right? To where the average tiniest input can make a change globally. And whether I agree in that global change or not, or the reasoning behind that global change, it's like we all have an impact.
Yeah, there's like, yeah, and I totally agree with that. And there's like, with these type of projects, typically, and I have to look more into this one, but what I've seen from blockchain projects that are talking about carbon credits or anything like that is a lot of them trying to like, just monitor different ecosystem things and stuff like that, and putting a lot of the funds that normally get wrapped up in whatever type of red tape into actually doing these processes, like putting down machines that like read the weather and whatever the heck part or measures this biochemistry, you know, the biology, and I think that's the ocean protocol or whatever that I was talking about. There's like 2 different ocean protocols, but you know, they've been more along that track. But again, my real reason for sharing this was for a more of a follow the money type of situation, where this is what the millionaires, billionaires are interested in. As far as like how can they invest in something that's good for the environment that'll also make them a lot of money, which is why you see something like this getting $2 billion. Like, why did it get $2 billion? Probably because it's a tax write-off for them as well, so they can put as much. Like, they're like, yes, I'm investing in the environment, and this is a come up for us. Like, yeah, now what else can we do? But that $2 billion, I wanted to use that in tandem with this overlay right here. And before I go back to the screen, I want to give you guys a chance, a little gameplay here. What do you think are going to be the top 5 blockchains as far as TVL?
TVL, total value
like
locked.
DeFi money.
Yeah, total value locked.
Damn.
So from both of you, top 5.
I'll just take myself out of the running. Like, I am not.
You just gotta throw 5 out there.
I look at a list of like Polygon locked money, and I'm just like, who the hell are these people?
You know, that's a blockchain. You just gotta use whatever
much. It doesn't take much, man. It doesn't take much. It takes a little bit of hype, a little bit of community, a little bit of buying in, and top of the list. I don't know. I abstain.
Abstain. There's so much.
You can't.
You just gotta take it. You're just taking a shot.
I'm not abstaining, but it's definitely hard to determine what's really going on some of these blockchains.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're gonna go through some of the. No. I'm just asking, like, what would you think are like the top 5 in terms of TVL? Like, you know, just simple, like, you know.
What do I think are the top 5, or what's it gonna be?
Okay, I'm gonna do my top 5 then. I'll give you guys. I would be like Ethereum. I might go second off of what I like to use, Binance Smart Chain. I know Tron is big in the game for stable coins. I'm gonna put Tron in the ring. Polygon and Avalanche, and those would be like my 5. So Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Tron, Polygon, Avalanche.
Avalanche, huh? I mean, obviously, I would go with Ethereum because, I mean, there's so much staking going on Ethereum as it is with everything, and amazing coins that are going to skyrocket, and that total value locked with those coins is going to be through the roof. So it's only going to go up for Ethereum. I mean, you can stake the sandbox even. So there's too much going on in Ethereum for anyone to think that, you know, Ethereum's not going to be the king of TVL for years to come.
Yeah. That one.
You had some pretty good choices. I would go with Polygon as number 2.
All right.
I can't really ignore Binance Smart Chain, but I try to. Honestly, I think like Cosmos and Algorand are gonna make a big comeback, and Hedera, H-bar.
Yeah, H-bar.
So those would be like my. I'm gonna stick with like Ethereum and Polygon as my top 2.
Okay.
But I think that there's some underdogs going on, and it could be, like I said, Cosmos, Hedera, Hashgraph or H-bar, and Algorand.
Gotcha. All right, let's check out who the actual winners are. And I wanted to do this just because we just checked something out where there was $2 billion going to one project for carbon credit. That's like an insane amount of money. So I'm like, if that much money is going towards something, now let's check out all the TVL on these blockchains. That was the purpose of me doing this, and to get